Hello everyone. I would like to talk a little bit about what Heathen spirituality is, or maybe what it can be, because maybe there are different Heathen spiritualities for different people at different times in different contexts. So let's break it down for the two words, Heathen, and then later on we talk about spirituality. So what is to be a Heathen? Well, a Heathen practices heathenry. And heathenry is this modern pagan path that is inspired by the Norse, Anglo-Saxon and Germanic pre-Christian traditions. Another name for heathenry is Azatru, which means true to the Aesir or loyal to the Aesir. And the Aesir is one of these Norse families of gods that we know of. Gods like Odin and Thor and other gods like that. Now, another name that sometimes people mention is Norse paganism, and that is a more easily understandable term because a lot of our sources are indeed Norse, and then these gods like Odin and Thor or Freya are gods that are part of this context of Norse paganism that was happening in the past and that now people are rediscovering it and adapting it to our modern understandings. And part of that is also, reconfiguring what is our idea of what gods are. Because we were told in our education, most of us at least, that the gods were just these simple ways that primitive people were explaining the world. Like they were explaining physics, but they didn't know about physics, so they explained, oh, there is some kind of a dudes there in the skies that would make things work. Well, modern pagans now understand that things are a little bit more nuanced and complex than that, and many people now understand that there are different layers of meaning and of relating to these powers or concepts that are gods. Uh, Many pagans, when they start their journey, they relate more with archetypes, psychological archetypes of these concepts like knowledge or strength or beauty. But then with time and with the practice and trying to understand a little bit more of how these concepts of gods can be, there is then the development of a relationship. And then to some of us pagans, then the gods start becoming alive, conscious beings outside of ourselves that we can relate to, but because they are also inside ourselves, like knowledge is, like strength is, like beauty is, so we can start deepening those relationships with those concepts. And then sometimes magic happens. And it's a mystery exactly what the gods are. But many people that have delved deeper into it, they always find more and more different understandings and different wonders as well that come with it. So that was a little bit about what is a heathen or what someone practice heathenry. Then let's talk a little bit about spirituality. Spirituality is a very wide umbrella term of different paths, different practices, different worldviews. But at its core, some of these main goals of spirituality or spiritual paths is about self-knowledge, self-development, even more deepening our self-awareness of ourselves, and also a connection with the divine, connection with something that is beyond the material world, that is within us, but is also out there in nature, it's out there everywhere if we follow a view that there is some kind of a divine immanence or divine presence all around us. So being a pagan, all spiritual paths that are, so with some pagan leanings have a very strong connection with nature. That is very much part of the core of it, and aligning ourselves with nature cycles, and also discovering and seeing how old traditions can now be approached in a new way, in a fresher way, for our modern mind and for our modern needs as well, and try to make sense of how the ancestors, how the old pre-Christian people related to nature and what we can learn from them, so we have a more balanced view and a more deeper view of what it is that we can aspire to be connected with today. So in terms of the spirituality, a lot of times, people make a difference between being spiritual but not religious. And that is obviously because being religious nowadays is mostly understood as being a practitioner of the monotheistic religions that are a little bit dogmatic and a little bit they know it all and nobody else does. While pagans have very much more of a wider view that people discover their own ways in their own times, and there is not one single true way. There are many, maybe true ways as there are pagans. So yeah, but there is a definition that religion nowadays is about those very much um, dogmatic traditions, while spirituality is something that allows people to be more flexible about their practices, about their worldviews, and about their journey of self-discovery. And self-discovery of what? Well, we can say that discovery of the divine, connection with the divine, and the divine itself is nowadays a very loaded term, again, because of those monotheistic traditions, but we can see the divine as whatever we want it to see. And we can see it even in a psychological sense, something that is inside us, and that is part of the mind, that is all part of the beauty of the cosmos. Or you can go into different levels of understanding what that divine can be with different concepts of everything that you want to have concepts of. Um, I think to me spirituality is most of all a longing, a search for something that somehow we feel that is missing inside us, and that with knowledge, with perseverance, and with beauty in our hearts, sometimes we are able to find it. At least for a glimpse, at least for a moment, we can find out. Oh yes, this is what I was looking for. And there are no right ways to go around this, and we find what would be the most uh, beneficial ways for us to find that glimpse of divine inside us, or that glimpse of the beauty all around us, or different practices that help us to connect with that and connect to ourselves and to understand who we are and what our mind is, and how we can in different ways try to start understanding more of ourselves, and how we can be maybe more balanced, more attuned with ourselves and with the world around us, including the cycles of nature. So, what can we say then that the Heathen spirituality is? Well, it's many varied paths, many different ways that we can try to discover ourselves within this pre-Christian Northern European context, cultural context from the past, but learning about it today, for the world of today, and aligned with the nature cycles that we still have as we go through them, whether we notice them or not. They are here, they are around us, but also trying to understand what these old traditions of pre-Christian Europe can teach us, so that we have a more deeper life today. Uh, so by learning a lot about the past does not mean that we're going to start becoming Vikings or Germanic warriors or farmers or Anglo-Saxon poets. No, we are learning what we can from their spiritual approach to things and adapt it to our modern, very much more peaceful ways that we live today. And that is indeed part of what we want. We still have our struggles, still have our challenges in life. That's part of the human condition. And if we are indeed connecting with those powers, the powers, for example, as mentioned, of knowledge, of strength, of beauty, and if we are indeed relating with them as Odin, as Thor, as Freya, maybe that connection with those eternal cosmic principles deepens within ourselves, and we are able to live through the world and wander through our existence in a way that is more interesting, we are more confident, and maybe we also have this beauty that we can share with others. So, to me, a Heathen spirituality is many different ways that we can try to develop the spiritual process of finding ourselves in a Heathen way, in a context of a Northern European way. And there's not a right way, as I think I said. There are many different ways, but it's always very important to emphasize that in our day and age, that just be yourself. Try to find out who yourself is. And with that knowledge, and with that strength, and with that beauty, trying to share more of those into the world, to try to make this world a better place for us all to live, including all the other beings in nature, and including, maybe, we can relate to these other beings of the unseen world that all indigenous cultures talk about, and we modern minds have somehow dismissed as, again, primitive things, but maybe there are also other worlds out there, in nature, spirits of nature, worlds of the ancestors, different beings in the unseen world that we can connect with, that we can relate to in different ways. So, and what are those ways? Well, there are some different practices, and I practice a lot of different meditation-based practices based on my own, paths that I have followed over my decades of being a Heathen. Other possibilities are indeed animistic and polytheistic philosophies, where we study and we think and we reflect about how the world is and how we can understand more of how we can relate to that world. And there is other practices like ceremonies, whether individual, solitary ceremonies or in groups, where we are really focusing on different aspects, maybe of the time of the year, maybe of different gods or other beings of the land, and being in this very much focused space where we are fully trying to connect with those beings or powers or times, we get something out of it that we wouldn't if we were just casually, just thinking about it. So yeah, and the ceremonies can be, in large groups of like-minded people, in the Heathen and Asatru communities that we have in Europe and all over the world. And it can also be just yourself being in nature, just listening to music, just relaxing and connecting with yourself in whatever way feels right to you. So there are many different ways to be a Heathen. There are many different ways to practice spirituality. So there are many different Heathen spiritualities, but my own that I practice, I've been practicing them for almost 30 years, and they have been deepening, and they always keep surprising me, and lots of really, really beautiful moments. And yeah, I would like to share more of those with some of you if you'd be interested in that, and try to ask more questions and try to search more about what things can be, how spirituality can be, how nature can be. And maybe, just maybe, if you start asking questions, some answers will come. And one answer leads to another answer, one practice leads to another practice. And maybe then, at some point, you can say that you are also following some kind of Heathen spirituality towards knowledge, towards strength, towards beauty, towards a Heathen spirituality. Vasael.